Have you ever felt like your own blood is plotting against you? I did. My name is Lila, and the moment my brother sneered, "This family is ashamed to have you share our name," I realized Thanksgiving wasn't just a holiday, it was a trap. Smash that like button if family betrayals hit too close to home, because what I'm about to tell you will shock you. I walked into the kitchen thinking maybe it was just another argument, another tense family dinner. But the air smelled different, thick, heavy, almost metallic. My brother Jake was leaning against the counter, arms crossed, smirk like he owned the room. Grandma sat at the head of the table, sharp eyes fixed on me like I'd just tripped over the family name itself. "You're here," she said, voice cutting. "I wasn't sure you'd even show." I nodded, forced a smile. "Yeah, figured I'd come." Jake scoffed. "Figure this? Lila, this family is ashamed to have you share our name." The words hit like a fist to my stomach. Mom, hovering behind the stove, shuffled uneasily. Dad avoided my eyes entirely. I wanted to vanish, to disappear into the floorboards, but I stayed put. I thought back to all the times I'd been erased. Birthdays forgotten, invitations ignored, compliments always meant for someone else. Always for Jake, always for my sister Chloe, never for me. I dropped my bag on the counter. "So, this is Thanksgiving?" I asked, voice trembling slightly. Grandma's lips pressed together. "It's whatever the family wants it to be. But I expect decorum." I nodded, trying to steady my heartbeat, trying to breathe without it rattling in my chest. Chloe walked in, golden curls bouncing, holding a bottle of wine like she was the sun rising over the house. "Lila, you're late," she said, fake cheer dripping off every word. I got held up," I said. "Of course," she smiled, but her eyes didn't meet mine. "You've always been easily distracted." Her words, a thinly veiled jab, made my stomach churn. I realized it wasn't about the wine, the turkey, or even the mashed potatoes. It was me, always me. We all sat down. The first bite of turkey was dry, overcooked. I barely tasted it. My mind was spinning, every insult, every slight. Every moment I'd been overlooked came rushing back. Jake leaned over, voice low but sharp. "So Lila, still renting that apartment from Chloe? You've been paying her for how long?" I felt my face flush. 2 years, I said, almost whispering. "Why?" He smirked. "Because apparently, some people can't handle owning anything on their own. Some people just pay everyone else." A laugh bubbled out of me, bitter and uneven. I looked at Chloe, who was smiling like she was untouchable. Untouchable because she had the family eating from her hand. Grandma shook her head sharply. "Enough," she said. "This isn't the time to argue over finances. It's Thanksgiving." But it wasn't about Thanksgiving. It never was. After dinner, I cleaned up quietly, avoiding every glance. That's when I noticed something strange. Jake had left his phone on the counter. I saw the messages open and my breath caught. They weren't just mocking me. They were planning something. Something about the house, the savings, the insurance money Dad had mentioned months ago. My fingers hovered over the screen. Should I read it? Should I risk it? I was afraid. Afraid of what I might find. Afraid of confirming the suspicion that had been crawling up my spine for weeks. I glanced at the living room. Chloe was laughing at some inside joke with her friends. Mom was pretending to chat, but her hands were shaking. Dad sat quietly staring into his wine glass. And Jake, he caught my gaze and smirked. I knew in that instant that they were all in on. I'd read together. The text messages hinted at something darker than just a prank. Something meant to humiliate me. My heartbeat pounded. I had to act. But what could I do against all of them? I wasn't ready, not yet. I slipped my phone into my pocket and stepped outside for air, the crisp November wind stinging my cheeks. I pulled out Jake's phone and started reading. And that's when I saw it. A plan that could ruin me completely. But just as I realized the full scope, someone's hand grabbed my shoulder. A familiar weight, warm, firm. I spun around. And there he was. Someone I never thought would appear at this family gathering. Someone who knew the truth. The words on his lips made me freeze. "You're not going to believe what I just found in the garage," he whispered. My heart skipped. My fingers tightened around the phone. And that's where I had to stop. Because if I followed him, if I believed him, everything would change forever. The camera would cut to black, leaving viewers desperate to know who he is, what he found, and what Lila will do next. I froze as he whispered, "You're not going to believe what I just found in the garage." My pulse raced. I didn't recognize him at first, my uncle. Mark had always been quiet, hovering in the background. But tonight there was fire in his eyes, the kind I'd never seen. What is it? I asked, my voice barely audible over my pounding heart. He pulled me toward the garage, the wind biting our faces. Inside, the lights flickered and my stomach churned. And there it was, stacks of papers hidden behind boxes, everything Chloe and Jake had been scheming to hide. Insurance claims, forged signatures, a fake eviction notice meant to trap me in a rental I'd been paying for 2 years, and evidence of money transferred from Dad's savings account straight into Chloe's pocket. I felt my knees weaken. They weren't just mocking me. They were trying to erase me, completely. Mark placed a hand on my shoulder. I thought you should see this before it's too late. I nodded, swallowing hard. Rage, disbelief, and fear all collided inside me. For 2 years, I had been paying rent, keeping quiet, trying to survive without rocking the boat. And they had been planning my downfall the entire time. I knew I had to be smart. Impulsive action would get me crushed. We went back inside, Mark whispering instructions. Stay calm, watch, record everything. They won't expect you to fight back, not like this. Dinner had moved to desserts. Chloe was bragging about some supposed investment opportunity she had gotten from Dad's account. Jake laughed at every joke, every word dripping with arrogance. I kept my calm, my hands under the table, my phone secretly recording their entire conversation. Each sentence they spoke confirmed my worst fears. They had been manipulating Dad, gaslighting Mom, even Grandma, though she suspected something. I could tell, and trying to make me look incompetent. And then, Chloe slipped. I can't believe she actually paid rent all these months, she whispered, thinking no one would hear. She's basically funding my lifestyle. Jake laughed, but too loudly. Yeah, she's pathetic. I felt something inside me snap. 2 years of humiliation, 2 years of being ignored, laughed at, erased. Enough was enough. I stood, clearing my throat. Actually, I said, voice steady but cold, I recorded everything. The room went silent. Every eye turned to me. Chloe's face went pale. Jake froze. Grandma narrowed her eyes, suspicion and shock battling for dominance. You what? Chloe stammered. I've been paying you, Chloe. And you've been stealing from Dad? Lying to everyone, I said. And Jake, you've been helping her. Everything, the eviction notice, the fake claims, the transfers, it's all here, recorded. Jake's smirk faltered. Lila, you can't. Yes, I can, I interrupted. And I will. You've underestimated me for the last time. Mark handed me an envelope. Inside, copies of bank transfers, the forged signatures, everything I needed to show Dad the truth. I turned to Dad, who looked as though the floor had disappeared beneath him. Dad, you need to see this, I said softly. His hands trembled as he scanned the documents. This can't be real, he whispered. It's real, I said. And I want my apartment back, the rent I've paid, and for you both to admit everything to the family. Right now. Chloe tried to speak, but no words came out. Jake's face was red, a mixture of anger and shame. Grandma's voice rang out, sharp and unyielding. I knew there was something off. I suspected it, but you really went too far. I handed Dad my phone, showing him the recordings. Tears welled in his eyes. For the first time in years, I saw him looking at me like I was proud. Then came the real twist. Mark whispered, check the back of the bank statements. I did, and there it was. Chloe had accidentally signed off a transfer to an account she thought was hidden, an account I'd opened under my name but left dormant. Every penny she tried to steal from Dad now sat safely in my control. Chloe's jaw dropped. How? What? I smiled, bitter but triumphant. You thought you could erase me. You thought I'd just stay quiet. But you forgot one thing, I don't give up. Jake finally spoke, voice trembling. Lila, Save it, I said. You don't get to manipulate me anymore. Not ever. I turned to Dad. I want the apartment deeded in my name, all past rent refunded, and for Chloe and Jake to publicly apologize for trying to ruin me. He nodded, tears streaming. You've done the right thing. The family was stunned, silent. Chloe and Jake looked defeated. Grandma finally spoke, voice soft but firm. Sometimes the quietest ones have the sharpest edge. I took a deep breath. Relief, triumph, and exhaustion all mingled. It wasn't about revenge for the sake of pain. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, my name. Chloe tried to argue, Jake too, but it was too late. The evidence was undeniable and the family saw the truth. As I walked out of the dining room that night, for the first time in years, I felt free. Free of fear, free of humiliation, and free of the people who tried to break me. The emotional truth hit me then. And it hit hard. Sometimes the people you fear will betray you the most are the ones who teach you the greatest lesson, how strong you really are. If you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or betrayed, remember this, your strength is louder than their lies. Like, follow, and share if Lila's story inspired you.